#Real Race Talk. It's the Revved Up Sports Show talking local, regional, and national action. Here's Bobby Chaffee and Rodney Rodriguez.
Hello, friends. It's that time again. #Real Race Talk. It is the Revved Up Sports Show as we get off and rolling on your Monday. Lots to break down after a busy weekend. And, of course, we'll start previewing stuff as we're into the month of March. And things are getting really hot and heavy. Good stuff coming up. GW Hessong at 6:45. And then coming up around 7:10, talk to Ann Naumann as they get set for a big weekend there, hopefully, at Cotton Bowl Speedway. And then Carson Green, the youngster, will join us to round out the show as we get ready to roll. Bobby, how you doing, man? Time change. I hate this shit. It's way too bright outside right now, man. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's pretty bright. I had to close the curtains in the studio to get it not so bright in here. And the time change sucked. It was one of those things. It was weird because when I left the parking lot party at the Holiday Inn, it was 2:00. When I got to the room, it was 3:00. I was like, what in the hell? I just lost out on an hour of my life. I'm never going to get back.
Yeah, that's the worst part. You know, I was actually good Sunday morning because it was. I mean, I think that's where it really sucks is when you're actually up, when you lose the hour, when you're actually awake and you see it happen. I think it's kind of a mental thing, you know, when that happens. But it like yesterday, I was totally fine. I mean, it was no big deal. It didn't bother me at all. But then, like this morning, trying to get up, I mean, because even the pup didn't get up when she normally does. So it was totally thrown off. So I don't know, man. We just need to leave it one way, in my opinion, because for racers, it sucks because we're always out in the middle of this shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a lot of fun, but definitely it was a culture shock this morning because I did not want to get up out of bed. I mean, I'm not an early riser anyways. You know that from all the times we've had to slumber down in various rooms, but it's definitely, it truly was a rough morning this morning trying to get up and get ready.
Yep, but off we go. So it's go time again, and coming off a weekend that it looked like it was kind of one of those things where it was touch and go because it seemed like everything up north. I mean, for the folks up north, they kind of got the shaft on the weather thing. Where down south we were still okay. I mean, I know in Houston, Saturday night, a little chillier than I would have wanted it to be. But I think the fact is that the folks down south, the 37, were able to get their races in. You know, that's a blessing because up north, man, they just got pounded and you had some big shows wiped out, and that sucks. But up north, I mean, you know better than anyone because you lived up there for a while. I mean, up there, it's so weird, dude. I never understood that until you explained it to me. Up north, man, it's weather is just horrible for them when it comes to Texas.
Yeah, it's just crazy because the way that the wind and the rain comes off the Rockies, and then you don't have any. At least with the Texas Hill Country in the Central Texas, you've got a little bit of hills and mountains, so to speak, to kind of break up some of the weather when you get to Central Texas. But you go from Waco on up, and the weather's unpredictable as hell. That's why they get so many tornadoes up there around Gerald and in the DFW metro area up there. So it's it's just a totally different weather pattern. And we'll see how well it sucks coming up in April when TMS comes back on the schedule there in a couple of weeks, about 6
Well,
weeks
and we got this week is not going to be good here. I mean, because kind of the first domino to fall around here was Waco. And from what I'm looking at, I'm going to Alabama. So I was checking in with them, and it's like 50% pretty much every day. So I don't know what's going to happen there. But it looks like towards the end of the week here that it's not going to be, conducive, as we say, for racing. But I don't know, man. But that's what happens when you're racing in March and in the early parts of April. You're going to have to deal with this stuff, and it's that's again where you applaud the track promoters for trying to get the damn racetrack as ready as possible. And I saw a lot of folks beating up on Waco, so much so that Waco did their post, and they're like, "Look, we tried, but the whole thing was if they'd have got Waco ready for Friday night racing, it started raining right around the time that they would have raced. So it sucks when it comes to stuff like that."
Yeah, definitely a nail biter, right? I mean, you and I have both been on the calls where you have to make the decision whether it be a couple of days early or race day early to whether or not you have to cancel the races because of weather. We've been on both sides of it. We've had to cancel in the early part of the week and then be a kick-ass, beautiful Chamber of Commerce weather day on Saturday when it was forecasted to be a 70% chance of rain. We've also been on the other side where everybody gets pissed off. Well, y'all knew it was going to rain. Y'all should have canceled, saved us all the money. And that's the same people that are saying that you canceled too early. So it's kind of like you never win as a promoter, as one of the powers that be that gets to make decisions like that.
Yeah,
so
never fails. I tell you one thing that didn't suck. We had the debut of the STEM series that was over at I-37 with a with a good night. It looked like as they got everything in. Obviously, GW is going to join us here in just a little bit, but it looked like everything was going pretty well there with that one. Let's kind of take a look there as the STEM series did their thing. Let's take a look at kind of the finish right here. Boom, there it is. So here they are off and rolling. Boy, you had a good race right there with Doyon and Chris Morris. Boy, that look at that slider right there. How about that?
Yeah, that's coming to the white, isn't it?
White flag, 1 lap to go right there. Morris down on the bottom. That's just good, clean racing right there. And Doyon tries to go back down on the bottom again. Looked like they had a good car turnout as well. So I think that's everything that they could have asked for the debut of the STEM series.
I think it worked. I mean, the next challenge will be when they come to the next race. I think the next race on the schedule is either going to be Cotton Bowl in a couple of weeks. I think their next race is probably going to be down there with us in Edna at Texana for the season opener down there. So hopefully we'll get the same kind of car count and the same kind of racing that they got there at I-37.
And I think the good thing about this is, with the stems, obviously ST means South Texas. I think what you're going to get right here with the modifieds is obviously right there. You were going to have a good turnout of the guys from San Antonio, and I think as they go from track to track, once you get to Cotton Bowl and all these different places, that you're gonna watch the field kind of fill itself up. And if I don't exactly know, I'm going to take a look here. I'll pull it up here in just a second, but I think they had well over 15 cars. So
18
yeah,
or 19.
yeah. So I think for a first time out of the box with what they were trying to do there, I think that's a great start. I mean, and then you have a good finish like that, a good clean finish. I know there was some question right there at one point. The winner right there, Morris, with a slider, and I don't know what happened. I haven't watched the entire race with getting the spots back and so forth. But hey, man, that's a hell of a start.
I think it's a good start, a good solid foundation to get the series started. So we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, one race does not make a series, although we've seen, unfortunately, through the course of all these years that one race can break a series. But they definitely are not one and done. I don't foresee that happening with some of just some of the objectives that they had and some of the buy-in that they've got from some of the different drivers. So it seems like a lot of your heavy hitters with your IMCA modified cars have bought in and going to enjoy the series and travel around and make
no doubt. And I think the good thing about it is with this series is, I mean, this is where folks need to race. I mean, if you're going to race in South Texas in a modified, this is the way you need to do it. I mean, there's not, standalone modified series and so forth. So this is what you need to do. Chris Morris, Ryan Doyon, Rick Green. That is 1, 2, 3 as they finished that one. And they started, as a matter of fact, 16 cars. There were 2 more that did not start. So that's a pretty good start. I mean, I really think, especially with everything that we were dealing with weather and cold and early part of the year. But I say that I say that, but I want to preface that when I say early part of the year, because I mean that more towards asphalt. I know, like on Saturday night, I was talking about, a good car count or whatever you want to call it in Houston, but dirt, not so much, because I mean, these guys and girls have been going since January. So I kind of take that back when I say early in the season for them, because hell, they're a quarter of the way in already.
Some tracks are, yeah, definitely. When you got some of the icebreakers and stuff like that come through, but I mean, it's some tracks got a late start. I mean, I feel like the Race Ranch starting at the end of the month and Edna starting at the very end of the month is kind of a later start than normal. But I mean, there's only so many dates to have. You don't want to schedule on top of each other all the time, so it's it's a challenge for sure.
You guys feel free to drop your comments in there as you may have been out and about this weekend. Like we were just talking about, it seems like everything was down south, when it comes to Texas and so forth. I know Louisiana, they got races in and so forth. And our friends at Race On that, starting off with their new series, we're able to get that in. But let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you guys. We can share those. We can talk about those if you have topics and so forth. We'd love to bring those into the fold. So just kind of some of the other action out there. I'm really looking forward to that factory stock conversation coming up with Hessong, because that looked like a pretty good field right there, with what they had right there. Late models out and about on the track, and Jared Maupin, the winner there over Stephen Whitaker Jr. and Ray and Robbie Minton Jr. and Cody Hardage. So really good start for late models there at 37. And again, 37, I think, is one of those tracks that it's going to kind of be the benchmark when it comes to late models in Texas, man, because people want to go out there. I'm trying to get them hooked up with Crate Racing USA, and Ray is doing all he can to get that done. By the way, Adam Stewart, return a call. But I think the late model start's pretty good.
I think so. I mean, I think that it's they were the first ones to stick their neck out and try to promote for the late models. They really were, when nobody else was doing it. So that's why I think the base there is strong. They're at 37 for the late models, and now they've got them almost all season long on a regular weekly racing setup. So I mean, I think that it's and we know Ray loves late models. I mean, he loves them. I mean, they're fast, they look good, they sound good. And so they put on a hell of a show, but that crate series just didn't take off down south. It took off up north, just didn't take off down south. So it's good to see 37 still in the market. If you're ready to see late models, check them out either live in person at 37 or check them out on Race.
Yep, no doubt. And it that is the thing. I mean, late models are tough, and that's something that I've kind of grown to know here over the past few months, just kind of trying to dive into stuff. And I really like the late models. I think that's the other part of it. I mean, take the other part out that I'm trying to sell late model parts and crates and all this other stuff. I just like what they do. I mean, I love the cars. I mean, to me, they look like our Outlaws on Pavement. I mean, it's kind of what they remind me of. Long nose, big ass, the way I talk about those. So I think it's really cool. And I think it's a good spot. Hey, look who's checking in right there. Jason Foray. Dude, how's your neck? Holy jeez Louise, man. That concrete does not give, man. Does not give in Houston.
No, it doesn't move at all. That wall never moves.
Jason Foray taking a horrible shot right there in the modified race. We'll talk about that here just a little bit later on. Again, our program presented tonight by On Demand Shirts. Got to go up and see my man James Cole during the week, and he set us up with some good stuff. And we've got plenty of merchandise. By the way, breaking news coming up on Monday the 18th. You will be able to get to the merchandise store. You'll have the e-commerce store for the Revved Up Sports Show. That'll be posted on the website. We'll get it on the Facebook page. We'll get it everywhere that it needs to be. You'll be able to get not the polos. I mean, we keep the polos, but T-shirts, caps, hoodies, all that stuff will be available for you to purchase. And as we always say, and Bobby's a lot better at this than I am, if you see us at a racetrack, ask for some of that stuff, and we'll give it to you. Mine, it's like I'm so scatterbrained all day. I mean, Bobby, today has been horrible because I've been trying to do all of this, and then at the same time, the football's going crazy with free agency, and I'm doing the other job. And it's like, dude, I don't know if I'm coming or going. And then this time change has got me all fucked up.
Well, I mean, I ran out of merch again. I ran out of hats again. Some ODS hats, but I'm sure we'll look at trying to get some more of those. But it's one of those things where I think I ran out of all my swag there in Houston. So, but you know what? Some of the people asked. We gave one to our buddy Gerald Boyd, who's been on this program before, and I know that those people wear it proudly. To represent our brand. So, you got to give it to the right people.
I couldn't give Gerald anything by the time I was done with him because he gave me Crown Apple, and I don't even drink that shit. But good bench, good bench racing right there. Talking with that's why I was up after 2 or 3, whatever AM you want to call it. Let's dive in right here and start having some great conversations. And I'll keep her there. I mean, that pretties up the show right there. Let's welcome in our man. We were talking about I-37 and a good field of factory stocks right there. It's one of our favorite dudes, factory stock driver extraordinaire. As I said on the post right there, a lot of 747s are all broken down, but his never are. It is GW Hessong. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How about y'all?
Not doing too bad, my man. Not doing too bad. So, who you got over there on the side right there? Let her sneak in there.
Oh, we got August over here. We got the whole.
Look at that right there, Bobby. Bobby, that's what you need.
A race car?
I don't see a race car in that picture.
I need a race car. That's what I need.
I don't see a race car, and I'm not talking about Riley because
yes, sir.
GW, talk about the weekend, dude. Speaking of Riley, I messaged Riley because Bobby and I were actually in the parking lot there in Houston, and Bobby's like, Riley won the factory stop. And I'm like, dude, that's great. And I reached out to her, and she's like, no, not quite. But talk about how that went down for you guys.
Yeah, that was our whole plan. The whole weekend was her to race that deal. It was her birthday, so we were just gonna, kind of do that deal. And then we ended up having a little bit of brake issues and a couple little things with the car. And she's like, I'm really not too comfortable with that. And she's like, I don't want to screw your car up. So she's like, how about you just go ahead and run this deal? And so that's how all that came about. So, and I wasn't really ready on Friday night because we went out for a birthday and I had a couple too many to drink and my head was pounding still. but I was like, God dang it. But yeah, it turned out pretty good. It turned out real good. So, yes, sir.
Awesome.
So GJ, one of the things I like about you and the program that you have is that I'm sentimental to the Edna guys, right? I'm working at Texana, I announce at Texana and have a great time down there, and I like to see you guys travel to other racetracks. And I think there's a lot of you guys that do it. Maybe not as many as used to do it before, but I think it's great when you guys venture out. It's even better when you guys get a win. Like you got to on Saturday. But talk about the change. Is there a lot of changes you have to make from running that 5/16 of a mile in Texana up to I-37?
No, honestly, no. That's one of my favoriteest tracks, honestly. I ain't gonna lie. We raced there quite a bit with the red car, then the last car, and I just kind of play favoritism to that track just because it's fun every time we go there, and you kind of never know what you're gonna get there, but it's fast. It's like Edna's a little bit slower, a little bit dustier, kind of one groove. Well, not really one groove now, but I like I-37's track. It's great, and but like this year alone, we're gonna run Edna on the 30th, and then we're gonna go ahead and travel with TMS on the 5th and 6th, and this year we're just gonna try to play it by ear and just wherever we want to go, that's where we're going.
That's awesome, man. That's the way to do it. I mean, don't get caught up in point races and all that stuff. I mean, just kind of do your thing. Speaking about 37, I mean, one of the things, and again, I've only raced there, I think 3 or 4 times. But what I like about that place is that, man, you come off of turn number 2 right there, man, you can kind of lay that thing over and really get a good dive into turn 3, and then you kind of straighten out on the front stretch. So totally feel what you're talking about right there. And I think Ray and those guys have done a really good job with track prep. I mean, they really figured all of that out to where they're doing one hell of a bang-up job out there.
Yeah, I totally agree. Every time we go there, it's just multi-groove, fast, and that's kind of my driving style. Just let's get out there and run it. And this weekend it had a little bit of character, and that's even better for me because I'll run through the holes. So we're always really good there, and I liked it. And this weekend was, really good, hard racing, clean racing. Everybody was fun to race with. I mean, I like it up there.
Yep, no doubt.
I mean, but then again, we are hometown Edna, so we're ready to get back with Cord and them, see what they've done this year, and I think it's gonna be a really good year for Edna also, and ready to get back hometown.
That's right.
So how many cars do you have now, dude? Do you have just that one black 747, or how many cars you got over in the shop now?
We have that one. I have another one that we're building for her, but that's still
to be determined.
To be determined with her, but but it's there. It's there. It's ready. It's ready. So it's just a matter of getting it all together. So.
Hey, GW, Chris Workman, the voice at I-37 checking in. He's like, nobody told me about the driver change. Chris, I mentioned a while ago, don't feel bad. I called Riley. I mean, I messaged Riley about that, asked about that. So, all good right there. So, GW, talk about this car. So, is this a new car that you're in at this point? I mean, I know that
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like whatever you drive, everything you're really fast.
yeah. This is a brand new car. When did we pick it up? The end of last year. We built that thing in a couple weeks for the Corpus deal. So we only really got that one race on it, and we weren't real familiar with the car. And I really like the aspects of it. Any little change makes a huge difference. And we went back with Destroyer because that's originally what we had. But even though it's the same car, it's a totally different car. But we saved for a couple years, just doing the working on race cars, doing this, doing that. But now I'm ready to go racing again. I mean, we didn't get to do a whole lot of it. Of course, Tony helps out. We drove some of his cars and being the good guy he is. And, we just kind of messed around for a little bit, but we knew it was time to get back where we needed to be.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Dude, talk about racing some of those races in Tony's Novas, man. You guys actually would come into that class and you guys would dominate in the Novas, but y'all would race pretty hard amongst each other. You and Mickey and a couple of other guys. Monty get a chance to race down there with you guys.
Me?
Talk about racing those pure stocks versus racing. Well, yeah, throw you in there every once in a while. But talk about racing those versus racing the factory stock.
Well, I'm gonna say more in the aspect of the Novas were just fun. They were just something different, something to kind of, almost entertain Tony. That was his cars, and we loved to put on a show. And especially me and Mickey. I mean, we wouldn't cut each other no slack. I mean, we'd wreck each other for the win if we had to. We never cut it no slack. So that they were just fun. That's what they were. Pure stocks. Those pure stocks, hobby stocks. They were just fun. It was a Tony deal. Yeah.
And kind of with that, GW, I mean, Tony, man, I love that dude. I mean, talk about him. I mean, when it's like, short track racing, the shit that we do around here, it's guys like Tony where it's like, man, he just, I mean, he's just such a good dude, and he wants us to be fun, and he wants everybody to have a good time and all of that. I mean, and he's just, I mean, I know he can get fired up from time to time, but I mean, he's just a good dude. He just loves this sport, man. We need a lot more Tony Blankenship in this sport.
Yeah, and that was the whole thing about Edna too. He started getting these cars, trying to build a little class and the hobby stock deal, pure stock deal, and with Cord and them, just he wanted to promote, just help the track out, just help the whole facility, the whole racing program, and it was just good of him, and he's just good people, period. And that's where I work. I work out of his shop, on all everybody else's race cars, building bodies, doing this, doing that. And he's just all around good, ready to go, and wanting to watch some good racing and have fun. So, and you got to race a few times, and him and Monty would get together and throw these things together, like the Howard Willis and the Lawrence Miklacek deal. And, he was all game for it. He just loved to help Edna out, help promote the races, anything. So, it's really good of him.
So, Jimmy, how important that you're from Edna, right? How much community involvement is involved down there? Is a lot of the grandstands part of the Edna community, or are they pulling more from Victoria outside? Where does a lot of majority of the fans, in your mind, come from that come to Texana?
I think a majority is just the surrounding areas along with Edna. The El Campo, the Victoria, the Port Lavaca, Goliad, and so on. A lot of the racers here, are just from the surrounding areas, and they bring their family, their friends, and so on. But Edna does have probably, about 40% of the fans. Saying, my brother owns a parts store here at Auto Supply, one of my sponsors, and everybody, we go in there and talk, and they talk about the races. So try to hype the deal up and get more involvement from the community. So
and that's a great thing. I mean, I love that that people really tie into that. I mean, that's one of the things that I love about Texana is it's a small town racetrack, and that's kind of the coolest part about it. So GW, as we kind of wind this down, so for you talking about with the new race car and so forth, I mean, there's always huge races, factory stocks and so forth. You mentioned just kind of chasing some of the big shows down. I mean, any ones in particular that I know you're going back to Edna here coming up, but anything in particular that you're really looking forward to taking that brand new 747 to?
we're just kind of playing it month by month because with my work schedule, I work 8 on, 6 off. So just it's kind of like the weekends we're off. There was that deal coming up at Rocket that we wanted to make, but I ended up messing my schedule up, and we're working that weekend. So that kind of disappointed me. But more than likely, like the TMS deal is a big deal to me. I always love racing there. I think Boot Hill, there's a couple races they have. It just kind of depends on the work schedule. We wanted to make Cotton Bowl this weekend, but of course I go back on this Wednesday, so that kind of messes things up. But just whatever weekends we're off and whatever races are on that weekend, that's what we're going to try to make.
Love it.
So yeah, just go have fun.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
That's good. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys up there on the 30th, up on the racetrack, and you'll probably get to talk to me more than likely down there at the front stretch when it's all said and done tonight. All said and done that night. So we'll look forward to it,
sir,
man.
I am hoping so, and we're looking forward for you coming back too. So
Yes, sir. Going to be a good time at Raceway Park, and congratulations, Riley, on the win.
Yeah.
Thank you. This was a good one.
Hey, and happy birthday to Miss Riley right there, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, how about Riley? I want to ask you about your dad going to be in the baby wrap. I was talking to him this weekend. He said he's going to run that one. That ought to be a hell of a time. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I went over there. I don't know when it was, but we put everything, all the windshield, back windshield. I've been trying to help him a little bit as I can with it. But me and August are flying out Thursday.
Nice.
We're gonna go and see him, and we're gonna go watch. So it's gonna be fun.
Cool. I'll see you there. I'll be on the call for that one. So I'll come.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, GW guys, thank y'all so much. Congratulations, man. Look forward to seeing you at a racetrack, dude. Keep doing what you do, man.
Thank y'all. Looking forward to see y'all again. I appreciate it.
You got it. Take care.
All right. Yeah, have a good one.
There it is. You bet. There he is, GW Hessong. That dude right there. That is a wheel man.
He was the shit out of that car down there, Edna.
Dude, and that was.
He could make.
I'm
It
sorry.
doesn't matter whether he's in one of Tony's Novas or one of his 747s or whatever he's in. He's got runs. There's a Monte Carlo of Tony's that he runs every once in a while. He wheels the shit out of all those cars.
And that's the whole thing, that I think about right there. When I saw that they were working on a new chassis on a new car, I'm thinking, holy moly! I mean, because not like you're saying. I mean, the dude, he just drives. I know we had talked to him before on the phone here on Revved Up, or we'd had him on as a phone guest. I think the hood had flipped up, and we had him on talking about that. But I mean, that dude, he like he was talking about right there, man. He just drives, and you put him in something like that, and one of these newer destroyers. Holy shit, man! If they go on tour, as he's talking about, he's going to be a contender everywhere he goes.
Yeah, those destroyer cars are something else. I mean, they got a good reputation behind them. They're on the high side of the pricing schedule, but you get what you pay for on a lot of those chassis like that. It's definitely not a home built backyard chassis, but hey, for some people, those work.
And that's like you're talking about right there, like with Tony. I mean, with some of Tony's cars, I mean, they're not the newest stuff. I mean, but like with. I mean, he would put GW in those cars, and they just drive the hell out of them. And I mean, that just goes to prove, when you talk about, I mean, the cost of racing, like we always say, it's never cheap. But you watch teams like that, and they do that with something that may not be the brand newest thing out of a box or the biggest, fanciest roller that you're going to buy. And they start doing that stuff, and you put them in something like that, and that's the result you get. He beats Johnny Torres, Edward Oaks, and Rusty Head. That's your top four. That's a pretty damn good start right there for a dude that hadn't even planned a race that weekend and was hung over.
Yeah, that's pretty good for somebody that was
Yeah.
hungover.
I mean, that's really good. That's really good, and a great weekend for him. And like we said, a happy birthday there to Riley, as she'll be cheering her dad on at the Baby Rattler this weekend coming up at South Alabama. There's your QR code right there. If you want to click that, it'll take you to the Revved Up site, which is also RevvedUpSportsShow.tv. And what you do when you hit that, when you're on the main site, you can actually go right there, and if you're not watching this on YouTube or you're not watching it on any of the on Race On or any of those pages, you can hit that and click on the top or in the middle of the page, and it'll put you right into the live show. So that's a cool spot right there. I've had a lot of folks that actually walk up and they tell me, "Hey, I put it on my home screen. I just I took that and did that." So lots of cool ways to take this stuff in. So that's a cool way with that QR code. We'll pop that up here in just a little bit again.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the ways to, and it's one of the better ways to get a hold of us too. Obviously, we're on social media a lot. That's another good way to get a hold of us. Message one of us. But if you need information about the show or want to be a sponsor of the show for the 2024 traveling season, just hit us up. And as I used to always say, we can make an advertising plan that works for you on a budget that works for you.
And the other part of that is, some folks are reaching out, in Houston this weekend, because I did the 6 o'clock little, I think, 21-minute preview or whatever. And it's like, hey, I wouldn't mind, throwing a little money at that or whatever. I mean, it's super easy to do because, like Bobby's talking about, I think the tracks that we're going to be at, I can tell you with Houston and Corpus, for one, you're probably going to be able to consume that. And it's going to be on their Facebook pages and at some point probably on this page as well and on the Race On page. So if that's something that you're interested in looking at, just let us know. I mean, because it's going to be super easy. I mean, hopefully we can even get stuff set up to where Bobby could do that at Texana, to where he can dive on. And if anything, because Bobby, I think that's where I really realized on Saturday the power of being able to do this, because I had messages from folks on the HMP preview thing where it's like, we didn't know that there was a race. We don't follow their page, and they came to the racetrack and they came and found me, and I mean that's why we do this stuff. And now it's a hell of a lot easier to be able to get in front of people. So I think that's something where, folks, if you want to be a part of this, just let us know and we'll figure out a way to get you involved.
Yeah, definitely. Just let us know. And there should be definitely be space there at Texana to do one of these pre-race shows now, with that beautiful press box and Monty went and took a couple of pictures of, and it's going to be a top-notch place down there when they get it all
I got
said
to
and
tell
done.
you, I'm really impressed with everything that Cord is doing right there. That looks really good. That looks really good there. And then, like I was just telling GW there, and I've told you this, Bobby, and I think you probably feel the same way, that Texana Raceway Park to me just really has a special place to me because it feels old school. I mean, it's in the small town like I talked about, but it's kind of on the outskirts of town, and you drive out there, and it's a lot of local people that come out, and there's kids out there. There's room for the kids to roam around and do different things, and you and I, just in different conversations privately, we've said, man, if Texana did two things: number one, to our benefit, a press box, which they did and now have redone even better, and then the bathrooms and so forth, they've taken care of all of that, dude. That's gonna be some really cool shit out there this year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've seen pictures of the press box, the outside, but that was the first pictures I've seen on the inside. So definitely a lot to look forward to coming up here at the end of the month, Easter weekend. So everybody, if you can, come join us down at Texana Raceway Park.
Yep, think it ought to be a really good time. Kind of right back to I-37. So I know that over in Houston, we were talking about with Robert Barker and the Outlaws, and a good turnout for the Outlaws. I think that now with R&M installed, becoming a part of the Outlaws right there, and putting money into that purse right there, it's a lot of money that's involved. I think that may actually draw some people out that maybe from other parts of the country. But with Robert Barker, Bobby, you actually told me, and then Owen came over, to where there's a bounty on him still that nobody can seem to pay off. Nobody can seem to win that. I think, speaking of I-37, and I mean, Matt Hodge is a friend of mine. I like that dude. I like that dude a lot. But, I think with the Fireballs, and we're kind of going back here to the other night, I think with the Fireballs, they might have to put a little bounty on the, and do I have the right one? Yeah, I do. they got to put a bounty on that 58 car. A little extra money right there for somebody to go out and beat that 58. He's awful damn fast right there. Look at him go right there.
Yeah, he's got that place figured out in that old Hunter Montgomery an asphalt Camaro at that.
Well, that's why it's so fast. But
Yeah.
I've said that, and people are like, "Shut up! You don't know what you're talking about." Both of those, I mean, both of the cars at the front were old asphalt Camaros, man. But that 58, man, I know the origins of that thing. That thing is a rocket ship. I think some of the 37 folks ought to get together and try to get a little bounty together and maybe see if anybody can beat number 58.
Well, I mean, it takes a village sometimes to come up with these bounties, but you know, you never know. You know, I think when I interviewed Robert at the end of the night there at HMP, he said that I think if he wins 2 more races to make it 7 or 8 in a row, 4 more, and then he ends up getting the bounty.
And I think what folks ought to do with that Houston thing right there, with that bounty thing, is it's like somebody else get $500 other dollars, make it 1,000. Because I think those are the things that are going to really make that thing pop, you know, because the like I said, the purse has increased. I mean, Rick Polero, and shout out to Rick, you know, Rick came and talked to both of us after the races on Saturday night when you were sitting over there talking to El Mero Mero. And, he comes over and he's like, "Man, yeah, you guys don't have to talk about me." I'm like, "Dude, are you kidding? If anybody wants to be a part of this, man, we got to talk about him, especially somebody that's throwing a lot of money into this show."
Yeah, I mean, definitely, absolutely. Sorry, I got sidetracked reading one of Workman's comments there on the side over there. Made me chuckle a little bit. But I mean, yeah, I mean, Rick's a good guy. You know, he's kind of he at one point had a bad reputation for being kind of a hothead, but as he said, as he's gotten a little older, he gotten a little more mellow. So but he does a lot. He's a great dude. Once you get to know the guy, he's a damn nice guy. You know, he treats us fine, and that's great. So
I love that dude. He's one of my best buddies, and he still has that reputation. But that's the whole thing. I mean, you put that helmet on, and I mean, that's Rick. I mean, Rick is a competitor, and the good thing is, you know, to see Rick, and man, I can't wait for the April 20th race, because I think I mentioned to you, I think you may have heard something as well. So I think probably before the April 20th race, we'll have a special guest on here, something really cool that's going to be happening there at HMP. In one of them R&M cars, or
word spread, because even Mason and I were talking about it on Sunday during lunch.
Oh, good. Well, hopefully all those folks that weren't there will show up to be a part of that program on April the 20th. And speaking of that, this is Jason Foray. We were talking about him. I don't have his video pulled up. I'll try to get it up. He probably doesn't want to see it. Honestly, I don't either, because hits like that really hurt. But he gave the nose piece after, gave the nose piece away after that. Hell of a shot right there as he took. And that was some hellacious racing right there in the modifieds, man. They were really getting kind of rough behind. Well, not Memphis. I mean, Memphis was cruising, smoking a cigarette and drinking a beer while he was out there. But behind him, it got a little tight.
Well, I didn't get to watch it because I was downstairs doing interviews like normal. But
Okay.
you know, hey, it is what it is. I had a chance to watch the call yesterday, because I was the late arrival back to the house after, you know, eating lunch and not driving very fast to get home. So I haven't got a chance to watch the replay yet on Race On, but it's on my bucket list to watch. Part of it tonight, part of it tomorrow.
Speaking of that, happy anniversary, my man. It was another year for you and Miss Liz. So, man, you got a great woman right there putting up with all your shit, dude.
Don't worry, she's not listening.
Well,
you don't.
I do as well.
She's not listening. You don't have to tell her.
I'm serious. I ain't lying. I'm not trying to be nice to her. Why would I want to do that, man? I think we both have great wives that put up with a lot of whatever.
Well, I mean, she's a blessing. Sometimes it's a curse, but more often times than not, it's a blessing. But she puts up with this racing stuff, lets me go pretty much wherever I want to go, whenever I want to go.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. So yeah, so it was 17 years. So that add another nickel to the bottle.
Yeah, no, man, that's awesome. Congratulations to you guys. It's a really good thing, man. It's not the easiest thing to do. It's not the easiest thing to do. I think that folks that get, I mean, these days, I mean, you get beyond 3 years and it's like, shit, you accomplished something.
Yeah. 5's like an
Yeah,
eternity now.
really. So I wanted to ask you before Mary Ann comes on, and she'll be on here in just a couple of minutes, it looks like. I was watching the late model stocks yesterday over at Southern National with Carson Quapple winning there in the Cars Tour. On the pavement side, to me, it's like with the pros and the supers. I mean, that's the show, and that's all those whatevers. But honestly, to me, dude, the pro or the late model stocks and outlaws, sportsmen, whatever you want to call them, to me, those are the up and comers. I think that are just absolutely amazing.
Well, I think the Cars Tour has its own unique identity now. The late model stocks have found their hierarchy in there. And I think it's a lot to do with just the Cars Tour as itself, right? Because it's got the most notoriety of probably anything other than ASA right now. And you've got ASA stars trying to run in the Cars Tour, which a couple of them didn't even make the race on Saturday or Sunday. So I think you have that. But I think in terms of, the Outlaws and stuff blew up a couple of years ago, and it became detrimental because you were getting purpose-built, brand new turnkey Outlaws. And I think they kind of put a damper on the Outlaw stuff. I think that's where Ricky's done a really good job with the UARA Sportsman now. Down there in Florida, he's done a really good job keeping those cars in check to where it's a really good show, but it becomes another challenge. I mean, I think that anytime I'm interested to see with all the growth of the Cars Tour, how well they can keep it together.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's a lot. I mean, you have almost the guys committed to run it are more than your starting lineup every single week. So that's going to become a challenge for those guys over there to see if they can actually keep it together with his, spotlights on it right now. When NASCAR Roots is covering it for you, and you're not a NASCAR sanctioned track or you're not a NASCAR sanctioned yet anyway, not a NASCAR sanctioned traveling touring series. There's a lot of lights on. It's brighter now than it's ever been. So we'll see if they can keep it up.
That's the hardest part. I mean, to keep all that in order. I mean, when you look at trucks and all the different stuff, that's where stuff started getting out of control. But I think that they have everything in place that's going to make that happen, right, and make the Cars Tour continue to be that focus. It's on it. I think it's going to be huge. And it's going to be something that continues moving forward. All right, let's dive back in. This is a busy lady right here. She sent me a picture a while ago, and I love what's in the back seat. I mean, I'm getting hungry with what's in the back seat. Let's welcome in from Cotton Bowl Speedway. It is one of our best friends, Miss Mary Ann Naumann. MA, how you doing, friend?
Great, thank you, Rodney. Hi, Bobby.
Hello, MA. How you doing?
Good.
So
crazy week.
So let's talk about that. So yesterday, you guys do test and tune on a Sunday before World of Outlaws. As I've told you so many times, what the hell were you thinking?
I promise you, last night I did not know what I was thinking. I was like, oh my goodness. But it was a great test and tune. It was so good to see everybody. A lot of excitement, almost near right at 40 cars. So I didn't know if there'd be 5 or 40 with all the tracks that were racing. I know we had some rainouts at some tracks, but it was I was shocked. They just kept coming in, and again, it was so great to see everybody.
Absolutely.
Well, Marianne, I think some of the people say that they want to know why the Outlaws are always scheduled in the springtime, when you have questionable weather in March and April. And when you came on and revealed the schedule with us, that's a kind of a World of Outlaws thing. They like scheduling the spring. So, I mean, that's the challenge that they face, when they come. Obviously, it's a big blow to Kennedale to have their entire race weekend rained out. Obviously, we're hoping the best for the race weekend coming up there at Cotton Bowl. But I mean, talk about that. I mean, in terms of, those are some of the things that we're more privy to information about some of the way the World of Outlaw works than most people, just being, on the inside track and a lot of things. But a lot of it, you're just kind of at the mercy. World of Outlaw says, we want to race at your track. You're like, come on. And then other than that, that's when the gates open and it becomes a really big challenge from the local aspect when they come to town.
That's right. We finally got them out of February, but and into March. But I don't know that's it's a little warmer, but we really battled the rain the word none of us like. But yeah, we're kind of at their mercy and hoping that things just work out. They have a meteorologist that works for them, and I got a big old thing today with what's predicted, and I'm like, I'm not even going to look at that kind of stuff. We have to keep moving forward, or we're not going to have everything ready and set to go. So yeah, it's a challenge with the weather, as it is with any race night in March. So sometimes even April. But yeah, we're at their mercy. We can talk as much as we want to, but we take what we get and we move
Isn't
on.
that the thing? I mean, I've always kind of thought with you guys, when World of Outlaws come in, it's like going to a picnic. They have a picnic basket full of all these cars and all these people that are going to be coming around. All you guys have to do is lay the blanket out, get it all staked in, and make sure that everything's ready so they can just kind of sashay in and have their little pic. I don't mean little, but to put the show on. It's a lot that you guys are. How does it compare to a regular weekend? I bet it's like 20 times worse having to do not work, but
Yes,
more
yeah.
work is what I mean.
You're really close. I mean, if you just think about, we seat just a little over 3,000 people, and they told me today the ticket sales are up, probably the most it's been since they've been coming to Cotton Bowl at this time of the week. So I know Saturday the reserve seating is sold out, and Friday nearly is. There's some general admission tickets left, and of course you can't buy a pit pass until race day, so those can be purchased. If you can't get a seat, you can at least get a pit pass, and those are sold on the property. So it's going to be a big show. I hope the weather does hold up, so everyone safely gets to the track and leaves and gets home safely. But yeah, it's going to be big, and 2 days. So take that at least times 20 of a regular race night, and it's very prestigious. It's a lot of work. Um, I'd like to say, and sometimes it's even fun, but it's a lot of work, and certainly couldn't do it without H, and I certainly can't do it without the great team that we have together.
So, I mean, it's still going to be good and rewarding to have the World of Outlaws, a world famous touring series, as a way to do a tentpole kickoff on your 2024 season. I mean, you got a couple of weeks before your first race, but I mean, it's got to have a little bit of momentum. If the race goes good, everybody's going to be happy, and you get a lot of fan interest and stuff like that. So, if the, how does the World of Outlaws show, under the assumption that it doesn't rain and it goes good, how much momentum does that place on the racetrack for the whole 2024 season?
I think we pick up some new fans from it each time, but I really think these are a lot of sprint car lovers, so they kind of just go where the sprint cars are at, which we have them, several times during the season. But what I think it really does by having the support classes, like we've got a great field of cars for the factory stocks on Friday night, a great field of cars on Saturday night for the limited modifieds. So they get to see a little bit about what we're about on every other week or every 2 weeks or whatever. They get to see what we're about, and I think we pick up from those support classes, and they say, hey, there's a little bit more to this than just the sprint cars. And both fields are got some great talent in it, so I think that's going to be exciting to watch along with the sprint
Yeah.
cars. So that's where I think it pays off for the
Yeah,
track.
no doubt. And I think that's one of those things, when you get a race like that, it brings people out that may not know that CBS is there. And, it'll bring them back,
Exactly.
once you start to the season opener. So let's talk about the bread and butter. Let's talk about the regular season. I mean, that's what really counts. I mean, World of Outlaws is great, but then
Yes.
they're gone, and then it's time to go to work. So let's talk about that.
That's
I
right.
think you're going to have, like I messaged you the other day, I think you're going to have a great year, you guys. Just kind of talk about, obviously all the divisions coming back. You got more folks that are on board. You've got the best car counts, I think, this side of, hell, the state. I mean, when you look at some of these tracks,
Thank you.
just kind of talk about what you're looking forward to in 2024.
So I'll have to say it's probably been the busiest off season. I really don't know what off is about. Neither does H, but the track is right at 12, 13 years old. So we're beginning to now feel the pressure of the maintenance for the
Oh, yeah.
racetrack. So we've had a lot of, bleachers and things that have had to be repaired, and, other things too that are now starting the age of the track is starting to show. So that's outside of just normally prepping and getting things ready. So with the track, not just the track being busy trying to just work through the winter time, but just I hate paperwork. If anybody knows me, I hate paperwork. So thank goodness for Rachel and Kristen and those that help in that area. Um, but along with all of that paperwork, it shows me that there's a great interest in the track this year. The drivers are just being so responsive, and so it's I'm excited. I think it's going to be one of the best years at Cotton Bowl. So I'm ready for it to kick off and for all of us to have some fun.
Yeah, no doubt.
So what class are you looking forward to? I mean, obviously you got the STEM series now, the touring series with the big
Yes,
mods. I mean,
I'm
I think that's gonna
excited
be
about.
fun at Cotton Bowl. That should bring in some good car counts.
I am so excited that Jacob jumped out there and put this series together, and I was so excited to see the car count at I-37. Jacob's put a lot of work in it. The South tracks, all the South tracks promoters, we've worked off of a chat all during the off season, along with Jacob, and so everybody's on board together. And it's kind of back in the asphalt days when the late model series was falling off, and we did the TSRS. Remember, it was like 5 cars at one track, 5 cars at another track. Then we show up with 32 cars, because we put a series together, and that's what I see Jacob has done here. And I think it's going to work great. It's going to be a good puller for all the tracks, and a lot of good camaraderie there. So I'm excited to have. I took a little bit of that money that because we are not sanctioning them, they're sanctioned on their own. So we took a little bit of that money and kind of tried to raise our purse a little bit for the other classes, the IMCA classes that are still running for us. So now we have, instead of 4, we have three. We have 2 classes that are IMCA sanctioned where there was 3. So that pays off a little bit. But we're going to have more cars coming in with that series. I'm excited about the trucks. I'm so excited about, I love street stocks. Everybody knows that. Factory stocks. I don't know. I don't think we have a class that isn't exciting. And it does open up for us to have the other touring series come in too.
Yeah.
So it's a great year. We've got a good schedule lined up. It's not a every other weekend. We tried to be, community with things going on in the community. We tried to schedule around those other tracks with big events. We really try to work with those tracks so that we try not to step on each other's toes. And so it sometimes we have back to back, and then we'll have 2 weeks off. So you really have to pay attention to the schedule. But it's a good schedule, and like I said, it's been a busy off
Yeah,
season.
no doubt. And I think a lot of that is, I mean, when you talk about racing and car counts and all that, I mean, the racetrack in and of itself kind of sells itself. I mean, you guys do a tremendous job, but I mean, that place is just, I have folks that watch, they check in on Race On and they see that and they're like, oh my God, that place is unbelievable. And it's like, go check it out in person. I mean, because it produces some of the best racing you're going to find. It's big, it's fast, it's wide, it's newer. I mean, it's everything that you could want. Marianne, the other thing that I think is super impressive about what you guys do there, and this is something that you've always done. I mean, this is a man racing promotion staple, is that talking about all these different divisions. I mean, you've got, I think all of those classes have a title sponsor. I mean, you've got folks that are invested in being a part of this, that have been with you for so long. Talk about some of those folks, because they're really the ones that make the weekly, bi-weekly, twice a month, whatever. They're the ones that make the regular season possible, or make it easier when it comes to doing all this.
It does. It truly does. And I hate the marketing part of it, and I always hate that part, but that is what keeps us going. And I'm so excited. Advance Auto Parts has stepped up in its Advance Auto Parts Victory Lane. So that's really exciting for me. Mike Cooper is just amazing. Gosh, it's just so. Browning comes back every year. Design Welding. JTL Appraisers, she's been amazing. She is now called Sparrow Appraisers, and she is one devoted lady that helps us keep the VIP going. Magnum Trailers is back. They have their new ownership, but Todd made it happen for us to get them to return. So I'm not looking at my billboards like everybody looks at their race cars, but I don't want to. Yeah, I know I've forgotten so many, but
That's fine.
without those you know what, to me, what is an honor is when they come back. I love how they hang with us, and you know, just like I said, you can't do without them, and you hate to ask them every time, but I hope every time we get someone to sponsor us that at the end of the day or at the end of the season, they go like, hey, I really placed my money in the right place. And, you know, you announcers are the one that help us make or break whether we walk our talk. So I take a lot of pride in that, you know, with our sponsors to do what we say we're going to do. And I can't do that without good announcers. And, you know, Milton is wonderful at that. And when you guys are around, you're the same way, but you know how important they are. So, um, but I want them to walk away and say, hey, besides enjoying being out there and seeing the races, I really got something out of it. So that's what I take a lot of pride in. And then, of course, you know, I love the family atmosphere. So I would love to be doing these big shows, and I go kudos to those guys out there busting their butts to come up with all this big money that they can pay out. I'm just happy when I can pay the electric bill.
Hey,
So I am not the marketing guru, but you know what? It's family. It's what I love to do. It's the part I love is to see the smiling faces coming and hopefully going. That's the part that I really like. And you know what? I hate to put a damper on this, but we all love our Elmer Jean, our track clown, and you know, Win Wilkerson. We need to keep Adam, his son, in our prayers. He's in the hospital and probably won't leave. So it's hard to say that, but um, that's part of family. You know, you learn to love these people. They're like family. You choose them, and you're so proud when they're with you and they've been with you for years and years. And when things like this happen to their family, that's when we all pull together as a racing community. So I take a lot of pride in that, and I know you guys do too. So let's keep Adam Wilkerson in our prayers. And I know Adam would want us to keep on doing what we're doing. He'd want to know that this weekend is very successful for Cotton Bowl, and I'm going to do it with this one.
Yeah, your brother messaged me yesterday and was kind of giving me some of that information, and I'm my heart hurts. And
sometimes we do these events and we do them in honor of people, and I'm, you know, I that's what I want to do here, and I want to pick my head up and just move forward and know that that he loves us and we love him, and his dad loves racing, and you know, good part about Adam's about to be with his mom again, so that's the only good part I can say about it. He's a good Christian. So but anyway, he would want us to move on, and I think you're going to start seeing trailers rolling into Bastrop and Giddings and Austin, and they're on their way. And so H and I and all the team are trying to get everything together, and you know, I think we see more of our RV for this week than we ever do. So because we stay at the racetrack pretty much. So, and here's my first trip with my Sam's run. So that's what I've been doing all day.
You get pulled over, and they're going to be like, "She's human trafficking over here. Look at all this food that she has in here. Let's follow her." I don't know what she's doing.
I don't know why I don't have a truck, but yeah, right. They love to see me when I go to Sam's. But you know what? All the promoters know this. It just takes how much it takes to get a race going. And, you know, you don't think about the little things, the Lysol in the bathroom. You know me in the bathroom, so you got to have that Lysol in the bathrooms, and the bathrooms all cleaned up and freshened up and ready for everybody. So there's a lot of behind the scenes that each promoter does every race. And, you know, we just take it for granted. And I take a lot of pride in that. And I know the other tracks do too. So this is just part of it. And, you know, that's we're working to getting ready for a really, really busy week.
Yeah. Bobby, I'm sorry. Let me jump in here. I'll forget if I don't, and I'll throw it to you here in just a second. But Mary Ann, so this past weekend in Houston, I'd been talking to Owen and those folks during the week, and I'm like, look, I want a trophy presenter. And we got one, and she called herself the queen. I mean, presenter, whatever the word is. I said, I want victory laps. I want all this other stuff. And I was talking to Terry Barden, you know, we're kind of laying all this out, and he's like, what are you doing? Why do you want to do all this? And he's like, look, I told him, I said, get off my ass, man. I want to operate like Marianne. I want this to be a good show for people to get actively involved. And they loved all that stuff. I mean, this is
Yes.
the racing we grew up with, I think.
The pageantry is just almost as important as the racing. I mean,
Yep.
I think it is the icing on the cake, and it's so important. And we can drag it out too long, or we can, do like you wanted to do, and it works. It works. People like it.
Yeah, they do.
So, Marianne, I think Cord took a notice at Cotton Bowl's facilities because he's built a new set of bathrooms down there at Texana that definitely have a little bit of Cotton Bowl influence
I
in them
saw
with how
that.
big they are or how big they're going to be. So,
I saw that.
you're
Impressive.
not only did you branch out all of us and over the course of the years with announcing and other stuff, but now you've got the racers trying to embrace that Cotton Bowl-ness with bigger bathrooms and bigger press boxes and stuff like that. So I think he was thinking about Cotton Bowl when he started putting all that money into that press box and the bathrooms.
Love it. Love it for the fans, that's for sure. And the racers.
Yeah. Makes it better. All right, Marianne, we'll let you get on your way. I know you pulled over to talk to us, so good luck this weekend. Hopefully weather holds out. I mean, I know this is a big one for you. And even more to that, good luck this year. I mean, we'll check in later
Thank
on,
you.
obviously, during the year, but I know the season opener is coming up. Keep doing what you're doing. I don't know why you keep doing it, but you're just one of the best. You guys are just.
You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I'll text you too. I can't make it on Friday, but I'll text you. I'm thinking about making it out on Saturday, so I'll text you later.
Got you a seat, buddy.
There it is.
All right.
Okay. Thank y'all so much.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
You bet.
Bye, Marianne.
There she goes, Ann Naumann. I'll tell you that lady works her ass off, man, and it's she just keeps on keeping on, man, and I'm really glad that they get that big event, because it really does, like we were talking about. I think it's so big for them because what it does do is that folks come in and they're like, oh, wait a minute, and they see the World of Outlaws and it's like, well, wait a minute, they have another race in 2 weeks or whatever it is. It's like, damn, and I think that really grows the regular base, and I know that they prosper a little bit from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to help. I mean, anytime you get the extra publicity of the World of Outlaws, I mean, they have a tendency, they don't go to a lot of shit show tracks. They have a tendency to go to some of these nicer facilities around the world. Or around the state, I guess we should say, or the U.S. So, I mean, I think that it's, they're known for going to nice racetracks, and Cotton Bowl's right up there. I didn't realize Cotton Bowl was 13 years old. But that's still, I mean, it's still a top-notch facility. Like you said, I noticed a lot of Cotton Bowl influence when Cord started building that stuff down at Texana.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, I think Cotton Bowl kind of changed the whole atmosphere of everything around here. I mean, when you really look at how you're doing things, and I am very impressed, from those folks, or from those pictures that Monty posted about how they're doing things. But I mean, if you go like to Heart of Texas, and Doug Rollo checking in there a couple of times, and Doug, when we're talking there about other things, we are certainly thinking of you as well. One of the most influential, whether it's in our line of work or just racing in Texas. Doug's one of those guys, and Doug, we are thinking about you every day as well, my man. Thank you for being a part of the show. But I think when Cotton Bowl kind of rolled along, it was like you had some of these older racetracks. It's like, man, because you think about, by the time that when Marianne got to Thunder Hill, it was still early on, when she became the promoter there with Callaway. But I mean, she really prettied that place up when the place wasn't really pretty at all from the get-go. With CBS, man, she had a nice kind of, what do they call it, where you paint on. She had a nice whatever you call it, not an easel, but a nice I don't know what I'm saying. She had a nice blueprint to work with.
We'll go with blueprint. Her work was conducive to making the racetrack better.
That's right. And the good thing is, let me tell you, friends, it's not like if you haven't been to Cotton Bowl, it's not like when you go to the gas station and you walk in there and they clean that with Fabuloso. They clean it nice. They claim it's Pine Sol or something else. You're not going to walk out of there with a headache, for crying out loud, when you.
Yeah, no, they have some really good
Yeah,
stuff.
okay, right there. Canvas, my man Bruce Wright checking in. Canvas, my man El Chingon, Bruce Wright with the Cholo truck. Bruce Wright with their new paint scheme there on the 48. Good run.
The Cholo truck. Oh, I just got a note from Carson. He said he's going to be ready in about 5.
Tell him we're just going to be going. We're just going to be going on right here. Caitlin checking in. She said Cody Tesh. I don't know if that meant bathroom or we were talking about shitters and she put on Cody Tesh. I don't know if that's a direct correlation right there or what the deal is. The Cholo truck. I tell you, the folks were really digging it. We're digging it. I mean, they were kind of liking that truck. By the way, trucks, where the hell were you this weekend? That was one of those things where I'm like, yeah, you know, I was blown away by a lot of the car counts. And I mean, like I said, with Rick and the R&M Install Outlaws, I mean, that was a great count, almost 10. And folks are like, what do you mean almost 10? There have been like 4.
Yeah.
So that's really good. You know, we had some factory stocks and all that and bootleggers. I mean, good race right there. It's good to hear those motors. But where the hell were the trucks, man? What's the deal here, guys? What's the problem? What do we need to fix here? You guys were you guys have always been the ones that carry the torch for Texas. Where the hell were those trucks, man?
Probably somewhere in the weeds, like some of the bootleggers.
Oh, the truck shouldn't be. They've been able to get out and run. Joey Cherry, we need a Mexican restaurant sponsor for the Cholo truck. Hey,
you should have painted it red Cholo truck.
Oh, dude, there you go, man.
We keep you up. Let's have a party.
I told those guys the other night when we were sitting there looking at the truck, and I'm like, obviously what happened right here is your graphics person had a lot of orange vinyl they needed to get rid of. And
yeah.
So that's what they, I mean, it ain't that bad. It just makes it cooler. It just makes it cooler, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's something else, but I mean, at least they're embracing it.
Freddy's Fenders. Yeah, well, you know, Bruce said that can be. I mean, you're a music guy. You know how it is at the racetrack. A lot of times it's wasted days and wasted nights. So, yeah. Could.
I may or may not have found that video from Snowball with you and Bruce and the RV that time.
And I got to tell you, Bruce Wright and Miss Ellie have. So I don't watch a lot of TV. It's usually sports. You guys know this, but you know, number one, they hooked me on that damn movie that we were watching all the time. But now, the last time that I was up there with them, I seriously had never watched Two Men and or 2.5 Men. And Miss Ellie apparently watches this every night. And now, dude, that's like what we watch when we're having family time. Tracy and I, now that we're empty nesters with Chloe in here, sometimes we watch 2.5 Men. Thank you, Ellie, for a lot of reasons. One, the show is good, and 2, there's a lot of pretty girls on that show.
Yes, there are. If only you could have the batting average.
Oh my God! Yeah, well, I've got his liver.
Back when you were younger.
I've got his liver. That's about all that I have in common with that dude. So, anyway, all right. Let's dive back in. It was a big night in Houston. And the good thing about it is, like we're talking about, what we're seeing there in Houston is we're seeing, kind of a culmination of a lot of work from a lot of people. I mean, you got folks that are coming back in, and you got new folks that are becoming a part of racing. And these folks have been a part here for the last couple of years and bringing multiple race cars to the track. And a young dude finds his way to victory lane here on Saturday night. Let's welcome in our man, Carson Green. Carson, how we doing, buddy? Oh, he's frozen.
Good. How about
Yep. Doing well, my man. I think you're just a little bit frozen. Let's see if we can get him over. He's like my shoulder. He's kind of moving kind of slow. So we'll see if he can hear us. Can you hear us, buddy? Yeah. Well, I don't know. He might be on some of that crazy internet here as we're trying to get him on. I'll tell you, Mike Knotts is glad to see Carson Green. He's already checking in right there. So a big hello right there.
Yeah.
Still, and Mike Knotts, that was cool what Mike Knotts did, where the kid was like, I like the number 48. Speaking of number 48, I like the number 48. And we're like, which one? And he's like, the blue one. And Mike Knotts out of nowhere, man, like a stealth comes out with a hero card. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good timing. He's been at this for 50 years. You see the logo on the side of the car?
Yeah. Yeah.
74 to 2004.
A lot of years.
Or 224. Yeah.
He better have it figured out by now. All right, Carson, we got you now, buddy. Dang it. Look at that. Oh, man. Oh, so close. I think he may be muted. I don't know. I don't have him muted. So we'll work with him for just a second. Hear a little bit of finagling going around right there. Kind of see him moving around. I feel like I'm doing play-by-play here. One more time. Carson, you got us, buddy? Oh, damn. We'll kind of stop him there for just a second. Kind of let him maybe.
I just texted him and said I think your internet's cutting out.
It's kind of resetting a little bit. We may have to call him. I think maybe the way to try to get him on here if we have to. So we can get a phone number and give him a call, because I definitely want to talk to him, because when you win a race like that, I mean that's it's super cool. I mean when you win that first race. All right, we're going to try it again. Going to try it a different way. Here we go. He's about to pop back on. All right. Oh, hell yeah, I hear him now. Carson, how you doing, my man? What's going on, buddy? How's it going? Well, no.
I just text you, buddy. Pick up your phone, dude. I just sent you a message, Carson.
And it's definitely his internet signal, because I get notifications here like on the internet strength of everybody that's on, and his is low at the moment. So we'll try him again right here. We're gonna make this work. I mean, hold on. So he'll come back on here in just a second. So that's one of the things there. When you start doing shows like this, it's like, okay, we got to have that internet strength there to make that work. I mean, that's the main thing. If we got to call him, we can do that as well. But other thing, Bobby, right quick, NASCAR, while we have just a minute. So Chris Bell dominates yesterday over at the Phoenix. Toyota to victory lane. You got 4 races, 4 faces. Here we go. But again, race not very intriguing to me. This car is just it's just not producing other than a super speedway, and I'm dying for them to come to COTA. I was talking to some folks today in Austin, and they were like, what's going to be the biggest thing about NASCAR coming to COTA? I said, number one, I think we're going to have some good racing, because this car is a much better road racing car and a super speedway car.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think that it being the first ability to be the first track to go left and right, looks like they tried to change the aero package a little bit, which I think is going to be good for the road courses, because some of those races have been a little lackluster. But I really think that I think that he's got a chance to, it's got a chance to be a really good show. I think, I hope so, because that's where I'm going in a couple of weeks. I don't know if you're going to the ranch or coming up here. So
probably going to do both. We'll figure out a way to make it happen, depending on different obligations. All right, we're going to try it again. Carson Green, as he checks back in one more time. He's got a lot of phones. He's going different directions. Carson, you got us, my man?
Can't hear.
Oh, man. Okay. It's got to be something on his end right there.
I'm texting you the number.
Me over a number, and we'll just get a phone call into him. That may be the easier way to do it. I don't want this to not. I don't want this to not happen. I want to talk to a first-time winner, because having done that a long time ago, I think that is super important. And he did it extremely nice too in one of those cars. So we'll talk to him. But yeah, with the change coming as we get set to go to COTA in a couple of weeks, we've still got one race in between. The one coming up at Bristol. I don't know if that's going to be anything that's going to be any better than what we've been seeing. But I'm really hoping that this is something that when they come.
We'll be better in dirt. Be better in a dirt race.
Well, yeah.
This is back on
Well,
concrete.
that's true too. But I think it's one of those things to where it's just, the product is. I think the other part about it is, and it's kind of double sided, and we could talk about this more another time, is that Formula One is sucking so bad right now. I think that the fact that NASCAR is the guy's not winning by 50 seconds over the next guy. I think that definitely helps, and hopefully that's something that keeps people on board until things get a little better. Because the car continues to evolve. Say whatever you want about it, they're going to keep jacking around with it. You got to put more horsepower in it. It's the bottom line. I mean, they can sit there and fuck around and do whatever they want to do. You got to put horsepower in this thing.
They need the horsepower
No,
back. They definitely need
just
the
don't
horsepower
go.
back.
I mean, that's the whole problem. And until they do that, I don't give a shit if you're racing at Longhorn Speedway or Talladega. I mean, you got the same issue. Damn thing don't go. I mean, the car don't go. When they complain about people shifting and all this different stuff, you know why? Because the car don't go.
Because
The
they
car
have
don't
to.
go.
Yeah. You don't pop it up a gear for no reason at all.
Yeah, and you don't drop it down a gear. I mean, that's a whole thing. When it's like, why are they shifting? Well, they're shifting because they're trying to get power to the ground, and that's the problem. So hopefully that'll work itself out. All right, Revved Up Hotline. Let's go. The On Demand Shirts Hotline now on the phone. Let's see if we got him now. Our man Carson Green. Carson, how we doing, buddy?
Good. Can y'all hear me good now?
I got you loud.
Got you now, buddy.
Yeah,
sorry about that. My
No.
bad. My internet's kind of been messed up.
It's all good, man. It is all good. That's how we have fail-safe ways to be able to do this. We just don't get to see your lovely face, but that's okay. We get to hear your voice. Carson, talk about the weekend, dude. Pretty dadgum good way to get the racing season started for you.
Yes, sir. It was a really good weekend. It was a last-minute call from my dad to work on that motor a lot. We had blew something up in the motor, and he worked his butt off. He was up late at night working on that motor, and we didn't even know if it was going to make the main event. So we didn't get to practice, so we started in the back, and it held up. And then the legacy car, we put a new gear in it because we had an old mobile gear in it. I only ran third, so now we have a fourth gear in it, and we're able to run way better times, and we're up with the pack. So it was a pretty good weekend.
Yep, love it.
So Carson, the one thing that I noticed is that you, when I first interviewed you last year there at the Palace of Power, you were super excited because it was one of your first wins and all that. This last time I interviewed you on Saturday, you were much more calm in your demeanor. You were just a little more composed. What caused that? Is it because you didn't have the first time jitters this time, or is it just because you just expect more out of yourself now?
I think a little bit. I'm getting more mature and kind of getting used to it a little bit, like you said. But recently, my birthday was in February, so I just kind of remembered all my sponsors and knew what to say and fixed words that I missed, that I messed up in my last interview that you did.
You never mess up, dude. You never mess up. That's the best rule of thumb. So mentioning birthday right there. Tell folks that don't know. Tell them how old you are. Tell them how you started and how you're now stuck in this sport, because you get in at an early age like you, and you're never going to get out. I'm sorry to tell you.
Yes, sir. I just turned 14. I started when I was 11. I've been doing NASCAR since the start, and will probably finish then. Not very soon at all, but we're trying to get more travel wise. We recently just got a stacker trailer, so we'll be hauling more and
Nice.
whatnot. So it's been pretty good.
Nice. I love it.
So let's talk about the difference. I think I asked you, but I'll ask you again for the people that haven't watched the interviews yet. We talked about the difference between your NASCAR and your legacy car, and about how nothing pretty much translate. So talk about the driving style. Obviously, you go flat out on a NASCAR. You never lift. You're about 3 inches off the ground versus the legacy car, who most people we talk to that run those say they're incredibly hard to drive. They got a really good power to weight ratio. But talk about your driving style, how you have to transition from the NASCAR up to the legacy.
Well, there's not much. They're not very the same at all, because in the NASCAR, like you said, you're not lifting, and they're a lot harder. You've got to have just energy, and cardio is what really helps, because I mean it takes the breath out of you, but not me. I'm good. I work out a lot, And the car, you're not using a lot of, because you're strapped in there, you're not moving. And you're about, my exhaust, when I get down that corner, it's scraping. So we get pretty close in the car, but not really.
Yeah.
But the NASCAR, you can feel the bumps and all of that stuff. So yeah.
No, that's awesome. Hey, let me ask you, Carson, do you know somebody by the name of Alex Santos, by the way?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay, well, so somebody just said that you're a crazy little white dude. so that means you're driving the heck out of that car. He said it in Spanish, so that's a very good thing. It's very flattering the way that it's put right there. So I can tell you that. Probably somebody just checking you out right there. So talk about your race team. I know that your family, your team. Helping out a lot with the legacies. I mean, that is, they're the title. You guys are the title sponsor. Kind of talk about that. You got a really good home base and a home team that help you doing this.
Yes, sir. My dad works on a bunch of it, and we have about 3 legacy cars. Only 2 are being ran right now, but we have 3 NASCARs because we try to get as many people as we can in the classes just to help out. And my dad, he wants to keep asphalt in Texas going and whatnot, and helping Owen and Dean. And we just like to keep a good look around the asphalt people and just keep going more places. Hopefully, next place will be in Alabama.
Nice.
And that's it.
Love it.
So Carson, talk about your experiences here coming up with H&P. You got a little bit of the meet and greet up there. You got all that. I mean, talk about it. You're a young dude. I mean, talk about your first experiences, first impressions as you've been, racing these last couple of years. Like how cool is it? What's the one thing that stood out the most to you that you didn't expect and stuff like that?
When I first started, I was like really nervous because of fans and how many people were gonna be watching me because I've never experienced that before. It's unreal. But then after I got my first win and whatnot, it was just I got used to it, and the fans are super cool. I mean, I love the fans. The kids are super even funnier. But no, it's a pretty good experience. All the legacy guys and whatnot, we don't really have problems with each other. If we have a problem, like something happened, like if I took them up on the inside or just something I did as a mistake, we'll talk about it and figure it out. And they better not be mean to me 'cause I'm a kid, so I can't do nothing. So, but that's it. No, so keep a good look.
Well, I could tell you what to do to them, but it's no, it's a PG show. Talk about that part, Carson. I think it's so cool with the legacies. I know when you guys race, I always mention that it's a great mixture of young dudes like yourself and some others, and then you got veterans, with Mike Knotts and Delilah May and all of these. It really seems like there's a good amount of respect right there for you folks in the legacies, and you just get out there and you're just racing as clean as possible, but yet still there's aggression. I mean, people are aggressive, but it's a good aggressiveness, it seems like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a lot of new kids. Some kids left, like Matthew Remore, but no, we try to. They keep it, but some of them take it a little serious. But that doesn't bother me. I stay in the back and wait. How many people are in the class left? I'm not lifting until I see that checkered flag.
Boom, love it.
There it is, quote of the day, right there, right?
Yeah.
So what's next for you, dude? Obviously, you're going to run a few more legacy races, but I mean, you're talking about branching out. I guess you're going to try to run Mobile, maybe Montgomery with the legacy when they run over there. And then, I mean, any aspirations to get to even bigger car, like a Outlaw or a truck or something in your future when you get a little older?
Yes, sir. Well, actually, I already have 2 trucks, so we'll be running the truck soon.
That's
so
right. I remember.
There's the news, everybody. So yeah.
That's right. I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
So I think
we'll be running it sometime this season. I just have to get a little bit more practice in and get in it and see how it works because we got Gerald Boyd and Denny working on it. So there's some real cool guys. They work on it. They're good, and we have Chad Rogers. He ran it. He used to run trucks back in 2015, and he's super good. He ran a 16.2 just at practice for the truck, and it was still messed up. So
I gotta tell you, Carson, I know both of those guys. I don't know if I'd call them cool guys, but they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. So,
well, they're cool to me.
That's good. That's most important, and I think that's a really good approach that you guys are taking to where it's like because a lot of younger folks they'll get in a truck when they're not ready, and they go out there and it just kind of magnifies and causes more problems. So how are you doing that? Do you guys test that? Or are you just kind of driving it in random spots? I know when I was a young kid, I'd drive my dad's race car down the street. How are you guys kind of working up to that point to where they'll decide when you're ready?
I think we're taking it pretty slowly. Gerald, the first time we brought the truck out, they suggested I shouldn't run it, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And to myself, I didn't feel like running it the week we tried, but one day we'll be running it, and I do a little bit outdoor running and doing donuts in the middle of the shop, having to clean it up. That was not fun, and I didn't even do a good job cleaning it. So
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I'm sure you'll get plenty of practice, right? I mean, so let's talk about you away from the racetrack, man. Tell us a little bit about your background. We already told us how old you are. I mean, do you do anything else for fun? You race? Do you play baseball, football, anything else, or is it all racing for you?
it used to be my mom kind of made me do sports because, being honest, I used to be really out of shape. Everybody at the track that used to know me, they're like, "Dang, Carson, you might have lost a lot of weight," and I've been going to the gym. So my mom's like, "Okay, you don't have to do any sports or whatnot." Cause I used to play baseball. I played soccer like my whole life till I was like 10, and but no, racing is it right now. I just keep a good look on myself and go work out and keep myself in shape.
No, Carson. Well, that's really good because I'm the opposite. I used to be in really good shape, and now the only shape I'm in is round. So keep that young metabolism going right there. So it's going to be Mobile, and then maybe the truck a little bit later on in the season is kind of when. But you guys are definitely going to hit all the rest of the 10 races in Houston.
Yes, sir. We're hoping for that. So we don't go anywhere else, and that's it. So we'll be doing the 10 races for sure.
Love it. Lastly, my man, talk about all the folks that make this happen for you. I know it takes a village to
Yes, sir.
get you out on the track.
TRE Racing Engines, Doug Ivy, Joey Smith, Fortune Engineering, T-Nail Propane, Alcoat Powder Coating, Copeland Signs, and many more, especially to my dad. He does it all.
Absolutely.
And the man above all, God.
Yeah.
So, Carson, did you write those down this time, or did
No,
you get those
that's
off the top of your head? Because I know you were trying hard the other night to remember them all.
No, I got that off the top of my mind.
So I'm seeing here. So you motocross also?
I do it for fun. My dad he's like a crazy guy. He loves dirt bikes. He's really smart about them. So I got a 250 for Christmas, and we went to Rio, the track across HMP.
Yeah.
And we went and rode there for my first ever time. My dad hasn't been there in like 8 to 10 years, and he still smokes me on the 450. So yeah, I just kind of ride for fun.
Oh my God, I love that. I love motocross, man. That is so cool.
Me too.
So cool. Next time y'all do that, I need to get there early. I want to go check that out. That's a lot of fun. My friend, congratulations on that win. And like Bobby was talking about, got to be pretty cool. You come walking up into the crowd with a trophy and people just go crazy. It's got to be a pretty good feeling.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Have to knock the women away with a stick. You get too many trophies, they'll really be falling around later.
There it is. I sent some Carson Green posters going to be in the stands the next time out on April the 20th. My friend,
yes, sir.
Thank you for jumping on. Congratulations, and I look forward we look forward to following you throughout the year and beyond, my man.
Yes, sir. Thanks all for this opportunity. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Yes, sir. You too.
You bet. There he goes, Carson Green. I tell you. Now, let me tell you, a dude, I mean, obviously composed, but all that shit that we were going through trying to get the video to work and all these different things, and still we get him on the phone, didn't even have to tell him how the phone system works because this phone system is not the easiest one to figure out. And boom, like clockwork. I mean, smooth.
Well, he messaged me, said, "Can I come on early?" I said, "Yeah, come on. We'll get you." I said, "Just make sure your mic works." And so his mic was working, but I think his internet just wasn't able to keep up. But
yeah,
that's okay. That's all right.
That's what it was. It was the internet, because I get a little flash right here, like when there's a weak connection, whether it's you, me, or whoever else, and that's what it was. All his bars were yellow, but that's okay. I mean, the phone still works. I mean, it's we've kind of gone to the video thing, and I know a lot of folks are like, I don't want to be on video, but I mean, I think it's cool that people get to see.
If we can get GW on video, we can get anybody on
And
video.
GW on video on Edna. That worked out pretty well, and GW did a good job. I think he had somebody helping him, but that's okay. It doesn't matter.
He had two tech assistants with him
Tech
today.
assistants helping him. Good stuff right there. Hey, you guys, more coming up, but first, how about a word from our presenting sponsor? It is the great folks at On Demand Shirts. Like that generic commercial? I produced that myself, because I started noticing, I was going back and listening to stuff on YouTube and on Facebook at different times, and it was like stuff was like shutting down, and I'm like, what's going on? And then I started getting posts about okay, your monetized video is being whatever they say, and I'm like, what the hell?
Oh, hijack.
Yeah, and I went back and I started going on. I'm like, man, we don't do anything. They use real music on theirs. So I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, I think I'll just produce some commercials for them for this show. But you get the point right there of that one was.
I bet James would send us some raw footage.
Yeah. I know when I met with them, we've got some plans in place, but it was kind of one of those things to where I kept seeing that we were violating copyright laws, and I'm like, what are we doing? And it's like theirs are. I gotta tell you, that Houston one was great. I mean, I love the Houston commercial, and they're rolling.
Those shirts are great too.
Man, those were awesome, and they sold a shit ton of them out there. And they've got some really cool stuff. The STEM shirts are really cool. They're rolling out some really good stuff for Cotton Bowl. There's some stuff coming out for the South Texas Race Ranch, and of course, they're partnered up with a lot of different drivers across South and Central Texas. So it is on demand.
I know. I needed my hoodie on Saturday. I should have ordered one sooner.
Cold out there, wasn't it? And don't
forget,
cold. Coming up. It rolls out March 18th. It may not hit our website till like the 19th or beyond, because I'm going to be on the road, but you'll be able to hit the official on-demand shirts Revved Up Sports Show merchandise store, where you can order that and get it shipped directly to you and arrive there, within 7 days or so. And of course, like Bobby and I always talk about, if you run into one of us at the racetrack, ask, and we probably have some of that stuff for you. How about a word as well from another one of our great partners? It is our friends at Generation Race Cars.
Hey racers, Phil Whipple here again with the Revved Up Sports Show. For nearly 3 years now, you've heard me talking about our valued partners over at Generation Race Cars. In 2023, GRC built cars visited Victory Lane on 46 occasions, driven by 9 different drivers. This year, GRC drivers are picking up right where they left off, as young Christian Gaston has already won at Cannondale Speedway. Generation Race Cars, located in Springtown, Texas, continues to offer new chassis body combos all the way to turnkey sport mods and limited modifieds. All cars are built to the same high standards we have at GRC. Justin Long is committed to giving each and every customer the time they deserve, along with a commitment to bring quality into every build. When you're ready to order a new car for 2024, give the guys over at Generation Race Cars a call at 817-528-2947. That's 817-528-2947. Take your program to victory lane with Team GRC.
From our man Phil Whipple with the golden tones right there that we always talk about. So Bobby, big weekend coming up as we get set. Heart of Texas looking to go once again this weekend, weather permitting, and I think Rocket Raceway Park Southern Thaw, man. I think that's going to be the highlight of the weekend, I think, for folks to check out.
Yeah, lots of good racing action. You're obviously going to be southbound and down to South Alabama. I can't. I don't think I can make Friday to the World Outlaws, but I could definitely make Saturday. So I got to get in touch with Marianne to see about getting that squared away on that point. But getting squared away, then you got NASCAR at Coda in 2 weeks, and then you got the opening for Texana down there on Easter weekend. So lots of stuff. Racing season is definitely upon us because now's when the mileage starts getting the freaking flyer miles start racking up for you. So it's here. I mean, we talked about it about a month back, saying once it gets here, it's going to roll, and it's rolling.
Yeah,
here we go.
No doubt. Also, Super B Speedway, Arklatex 105, Kennedale. All of that happening this weekend, so there's going to be plenty to check out. And, of course, if you can't get to any of those spots, raceon.com, which is one of our broadcast partners. You can check out all the action right there. As Bobby mentioned, looking very forward to heading to the Rattler 250 happening over at South Alabama Speedway. I think that ought to be a really good time out there as you got Sportsman, the Baby Rattler presented by Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet GM Performance, and then, of course, the Hardee's 48th annual Rattler 250 coming up. That's going to be the encompassing part of my work this week is getting ready for that. So just kind of your thoughts here as we're early on, Bobby. We'll get ready to shut this bad boy down, going long once again. From what we've seen so far, I mean, we're about a month and a half, I think, into what we're seeing with short track racing. I think that once again, we're on a good path. It seems like that there's going to be questions all the time. I saw the shit hit the fan at Mobile with different stuff with Crown Vics and all this other stuff, but we've got an asphalt race in the books with Houston. And now as the Texas dirt tracks start to crank up, 37's got a race in, Heart of Texas has a race in, Marianne, and then we're getting fired up and ready to go. Like you said, Texana. Race Ranch hadn't gotten to go yet, but it's going to here in just in a week and a half or so. Man, very healthy future, I think, that we're seeing at this point.
I think it's got potential. Obviously, I don't think the car count was where anybody wanted in Houston, except for the Outlaws and the Legacies. Obviously, those two were the kings of the pack. So, I mean, the car count could only do one thing and go up there in Houston, which was surprising to me just because of the fact the energy to end the season was outstanding. Everybody felt it, but, hopefully they can get back to that energy there at HMP. I know that, they're not going to stop until it's successful. Dean wants to be successful. Owen wants to be successful. And so there you'll get an opportunity to do that for sure. On local levels outside of, our direct connections. I think that, Mother Nature's already kind of put a damper on a couple of big races out there, but it's also the springtime. Here, we usually have one or two rainouts there to start the season, but then it ends up, come the summertime, we're praying for rain again Monday through Thursday. So, it'll work itself out and be all right. It's at some point, but lots of good racing action. You can keep up with our friends on Race On like we do. That's how we keep up with a lot of our information, and how we decide to get people to come on the show is by what we see when we watch Race On. So that's your best source right there.
That's a whole thing. And kind of back to the Houston thing, I was super happy with like you said, the Outlaws and so forth, and the factory stock and bootlegger thing. And that's, that's such a crazy scenario there. I mean, like Owens talked about on here before. I mean, I hate to say that the bootlegger thing didn't work, but it didn't work. I mean, because it didn't, I love the purpose and the intention of it, but it just didn't happen. I mean, it just didn't happen. It was one of those things and I was having some conversations afterwards about with factory stocks and all of that. And there's some folks, I think it's probably 60-40 with some of the folks' ideas about factory stocks coming over. And the whole thing is the intent of the factory stocks coming over is you're on an asphalt pull off and you come over and, I know it was like, well, you're not supposed to do anything, but you put a sway bar on. So, so-and-so put a sway bar on it. I mean, if I was going to go race my factory stock on the oval, I'd put a sway bar on it. I mean,
the rule doesn't say you can't.
And I'm hardly a mechanic, but I could get a sway bar on there. and it's probably a good thing to have that. And that's where all of that needs to work itself out. And to have like Tim Homeyer come over, I mean, I think that was massive that he came out. I mean, those are kind of the ambassadors that you need right there. But it was the trucks are the ones that I was like, I didn't really understand that one, but it'll shake itself out. But you know what, when you look at I-37, I mean, like we were talking about with the late models, I mean, I love the late model count. I mean, that was a great late model count. I think to start with stems is really good for South Texas. I know that, up north, they don't have a lot of the struggles that are happening down south. And that's where this state is so big. When folks kind of talk about, I don't understand Texas because one part is healthy, the other part is not. This section is, the other part. This is a lot of miles in Texas. We're not Louisiana. We're not Maine. We're not Mississippi. We're not Alabama. We're not some of those states. That's why you have that. And I think that it's just going to take a little time to shake itself out. But I think it's plenty healthy, and I think that folks just need to continue supporting, because that's what it's going to take to make this all work out.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I think that it's just it's got an opportunity. I mean, there are probably too many classes, but at some point, you've got to have kind of a stepping stone to go. You can't just go from an eco stock to a truck to a outlaw or a pro mod. You got to have a stepping stone. You got to go from an eco to maybe a sportsman or a sportsman car or a bootlegger or factory stock or something along those lines. Get you some rear wheel V8 experience, and then look at hopping into a truck or a modified, but probably truck first. And then modified.
And Joshua checking in right there. Probably the final comment that we'll look at here off of I think it's a Facebook feed. Do you ever think there are too many classes? Absolutely. I mean, whether I'll say both dirt and asphalt. Well, for asphalt, that's what started happening right there. I mean, I grew up watching Chargers, street stocks, and late models. So this is definitely an asphalt person, that is putting that. And I mean, I grew up watching street stocks, late models, and street stocks, late models, maybe a hobby stock or a bomber or something like that on pavement. Yes, there are way too many classes, but that happened at the time when asphalt was in its heyday, and those classes were thriving. And what has happened now is that you have that many classes, and the reason that there are that many is to afford the folks that are trying to that want to come out. I mean, because that's the whole thing when we start talking about the folks that are just keyboard folks or whatever. Everybody's ready until race week and race day. But having that amount of divisions, what it does is it kind of gives folks a place to race. And I mean, it's like, with the carts and with eco stocks and all of that. And it's one of the conversations that has been thrown out to me is add the bandoleros. I'm like, why? I mean, we have enough because one or two people want to go. I mean, we're already in that problem with asphalt. So that's got to clean itself out. Yeah. And this is where, Bobby, and I'm sorry, I'm going long-winded here, is where I'm glad with the outlaw thing, where it's kind of shook itself out, is we're not in that outlaw super stock thing anymore. Now they're just outlaws. No more of that other shit, because none of them were coming around.
Yeah. And I also think, like with the Legends cars had a hell of a car count too, comparatively to where they were at. Does 9 sound like a lot of cars? No, but considering they started with 2 last season, and none of them are local. They're all coming from DFW. That's a big improvement too. But I think the reason we have so many classes now is it was all built out of necessity. As racetracks across asphalt racetracks across the state started closing, they didn't get homologated into another class, right? They didn't want to. The classes were too far apart. The closest thing they had was where they took the San Antonio Roadrunners and mixed them into the hobby stocks at Kyle, where then they turned them into Thunder stocks because they were close. You had to add weight and all that, but sometimes the cars were either too gutted to go down a class or too big and bulky to go up a class. So I think that's why they ended up having so many. When San Antonio closed, I think they added 2 or 3 classes there at Kyle. And then when Houston closed, the Houston cars came over here, kind of a hybrid between a late model and a street stock. So they had to find a way to make that work there. And so Corpus did the same thing. A lot of those cars sat. They didn't come up to Kyle there for a while, or Houston when it was back up and running. So they all ended up turning on the dirt. So I think it's just a necessity of the scenario that they were in. And Owen's not a dumbass. I mean, if there's a class that's not working, he's going to drop
And
it.
that's the whole thing. I mean, that's what folks need to be cognizant about is I think if it isn't working, I mean, you don't be looking for dates. And I mean, the whole thing is it's always that situation to where it's like a class gets cut and it's like, well, hell, I was going to the next race. Well, yeah, you've been saying that for the last 6 races. So, I mean, that's kind of the point right there. And I think with the factory stocks, because I was talking to some folks in the meet and greet, you know, that have factory stocks that like weren't racing that night just to come check this thing out. And it's like, well, you know, my floor pan and all the different things like that. And kind of the goal right there, I can tell you with Owen is what he's trying to avoid. And Tim Homeyer, you know, when I talked to him on the racetrack, he's like, look, I have this car. This is a dirt factory stock, but it's just going to be an asphalt car. I'm not racing it on dirt. I'm only going to bring it here. He's not going to go over there and do all this other shit. I mean, what Owen does
He don't mess up that purple car. That purple car
absolutely,
fast.
and that's the dirt car. And what Owen's trying to avoid right here is, and this was the whole problem when the street stocks and super stocks or the super street or whatever the hell you want to call them, limited late model, got all out of control when they started being purpose built. You know, for that, and that's what he's trying to avoid right here. And it's either going to work or it's not. I mean, that's the whole thing. But the thing to think about is if it's not going to work, he's going to pull the plug sooner than later. So that's the other thing to think about. But to answer that question, yes, there are too many classes. And yes, when there's 4 or 5 cars, yeah, that sucks. I mean, but at some point, you're going to have to trim that fat. But when the fat gets trimmed, when you're cutting that brisket up and you cut all that fat off, you know, folks don't need to be saying, oh, I can't believe it. Because, I mean, you've done it to yourself. You've done it to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's only a matter of time. If they can't come out and support it, I mean, there's only so much a sponsor can do, right?
Well,
a sponsor can say, well, I want the class. Here's my sponsorship money. But even if that happens and there's still only a couple of cars, I mean, the writing will be on the wall. Really.
And I mean, and it doesn't matter when it comes to external sponsors. When folks, you know, whether a racetrack sponsor, a class sponsor, if it's a lack of cars or the competition sucks and there's nobody in the crowd, I mean, they're not going to be spending money on that stuff, and that's just kind of the other thing to think about right there as we continue to try to grow. But we're kind of defeating our own purpose here because we started this last segment talking about that everything seems healthy, but here we're painting a bad picture. What we're saying is it is healthy, but it can get a hell of a lot better on both surfaces, not just pavement. We're not just beating up pavement. Damn, I never thought we'd say that on this show. Yeah, crazy
right?
stuff. All right, Bobby, rest of the week. What's going on, my man? I'm still trying.
I got to play a little catch up and adjust to this time change. Like I said, hoping the best for Friday for weather-wise for Cotton Bowl, but I think I'll be able to get out there on Saturday and then just kind of play catch up a little bit on Sunday, probably watch the Rattler, watch a little bit of Bristol, and then see where everything shakes out for the rest of the week. So
Joshua, he's like, thanks for answering. I stopped listening halfway through all that. But no, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be a good week. Rain is definitely going to be an issue here in Texas. So hopefully tracks are able to get their stuff done. And yes, best wishes right there for Marianne and H, because I know that is a big deal for them there at Cotton Bowl. Great conversations tonight with our man GW Hessong, Mary Ann Naumann, and of course Carson Green, the youngster, adjusting on the fly, able to get his interview done right there. So pretty good program, Bobby, after a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, and for those with the HMP videos, they have been downloaded and are set to be edited here in the next week or so. So look for those on social media if you want.
Yeah, there you go. Also be looking for, I know the Victory Lane photos, all that stuff will be posted as well. So good weekend out there. Good fan count. I mean, there were a lot of folks that showed up in Houston. It was cold. It was chilly. My frozen shoulder got more frozen out there. It was chilly, but good energy, good crowd count, and I guess that's very important.
That's the most important, is to have the fans.
You ain't never lie. You ain't never lie. All right, guys, we will do it again next Monday. Thank you all for being a part of the program. You guys remember that you can always check in at RevvedUpSportsShow.com, RevvedUpSportsShow.tv, on the Revved Up Sports Show Facebook page. And, of course, you get a lot of Revved Up content on Race On as well. All of that is there. You can follow Bobby on the X at Bobby Chaffee. I'm at the Rodney R. We'd love to hear from you guys, show ideas, guests, topics. We love all of that stuff. Let us know what you want, and we'll self-serve, like going to the gas station. Ain't that right, my man?
That's right. We can make
That's
everything happen.
Big thanks to On Demand Shirts. A big thanks to Rogers Dabbs GM Performance, Computer Age Automotive, Generation Race Cars, and all of our great supporters. Until we do it again, next week may be Tuesday, Bobby, because I think my travel day's Monday. I got to check the.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Well, they'll know.
Yeah,
when
that's
we know.
right. You guys just keep checking in, and I'll get y'all some live updates from the Rattler. That's going to be fun. Hope the weather holds out on that bitch too. But anyway.
Oh, hey, On Demand Shirts an hour ago. It looks like the Stems online store is live, taking orders for the
Beautiful.
Stem shirts. So breaking news here. On Demand Shirts has the Stem store up and running for t-shirts.
There you go. And I think the way that works, you probably go to the Stem site, and that's probably how you're going to redirect to that. Because I know with our page, you're going to go to Facebook and then the websites, and that's how you'll do that. So be looking for that. I got a sneak peek of those merch items, and man, they look really good, really good. Great stuff there from On Demand Shirts.
Wow, their stuff looks great.
Really good. All right, you guys have a great rest of the week. You all be safe. Bobby's down south. I'm Rodney up north, and we will do it again next Monday. # Real Race Talk. Telling you like it is. It is the Revved Up Sports Show. You guys have a great week. We'll do it again soon. Take care.